is happening, YouTube? How y'all doing today? It is Tuesday. Just your average Joe hanging out in the garage. If you haven't been with me before, this is all raw and unedited. We're going to go over some eBay sales. We got a whopping 2 sales between yesterday and today. So, you know, slow day, that's for sure. But appreciate you guys hanging out. We also got a bunch of comments to cover. So this will probably be a shorter video than normal. Heck, I might even pack with you guys on with me. Since I only have two to go out today. Just got off the phone with eBay, so we'll go over that as well. Finally got some things done there. But yeah, so I'll share my experience with what happened there on eBay. Fun times. Was on the phone. Been calling them for like 2 weeks now. 7 different times I want to say I've called them, and regarding a feedback situation. So they finally took care of it today on the call, which was great. But anyway, we'll get into that and dive into that. Again, my name is Joe, just your average Joe. I've been reselling on eBay for 8-ish, 9-ish years, somewhere in that range, full time, and been buying and selling on eBay since 2000. So I've been around a while, been through a lot. I got a lot of situations that I've been through that I can't even remember half of them, to be honest with you. But been through the ringer a few times with eBay, and again, the most recent one is what we'll cover today. But and I've kind of touched on it on previous videos if you've hung out with me before, but we'll go through, dive in the whole thing today. But anyway, let's start off with comments. We got some good comments to cover today, and then we'll get into the 2 sales and the eBay situation. So, in fact, let me go ahead and do the eBay situation. Let's go ahead and touch on that. So for the folks that haven't hung out with me, I had a situation with a wrestling figure that it was delivered damaged, and the buyer just simply left negative feedback and said damaged item. So they didn't even do a return or request or anything. That's all they did. So I reached out to them. They didn't message me or anything. I reached out to them. I was like, hey, what happened? Long story short, they said it was damaged. I was like, man, I'm sorry. You throw that customer service hat on, let them know, hey, apologize for the trouble, but I'll take care of you. I'll go ahead and refund you. I'm not going to make you do a return or anything like that. It was like a $9 item, free shipping. So actually, I think it was like $4 plus shipping, but it ended up being like $9 total. It was like, I'll send the money back. Don't worry about it. My apologies for the trouble. Me and him went back and forth as far as like, he was appreciative of this and that. And I was like, hey, do you mind doing the feedback? I kind of gave him a little bit of the business. It was like, you really shouldn't leave negative feedback until you give that seller an opportunity. He's a little bit newer on eBay, like 40 some feedback, not a ton of feedback. So he hasn't been on eBay a long time. I didn't look to see how long he's been on eBay, but he doesn't have a ton of feedback. So I just kind of schooled them a little bit on, hey, you should always give the seller an opportunity first before you go leave negative feedback, because I'm just a small business just trying to make it, and feedback means a lot. So he was like, no, understand, my apologies. So him and I spoke a little bit, and he ended up, and we ended up I told him I already know how this works. I got to send you a revision to have it removed if you mind taking care of that. Well, he ended up saying he never saw the revision. And so I was like, okay, well, do you mind documenting the account, or documenting in the messages, in eBay messages, that you would like to have that removed? And so he said, sure, no problem. So I said, so that's all it was, is he said in the messages, hey, I'd like to remove the negative feedback. And then I told him, I'll take care of it from here. I'll call eBay and I'll deal with eBay to have it taken off the account. So 2 weeks I've been dealing with this now, for 2 flipping weeks. So it's been just a constant. We'll send it to the back office team. We'll send it to the back office team. We'll send it to the back office team. We see you do the revision. We see he wants to remove it. We'll take care of it. No problem. 100%. We'll take care of you. Blah, blah, blah. 6 calls. Today was the 7th, but 6 calls over the past 2 weeks to try to get this taken care of. And the back office team constantly dropping the ball. Well, the last communication, I haven't actually got any communication from the back office team except one message. I don't know, like I think it was on Sunday, and that's why I called Sunday, was saying you have to submit feedback revision. And I'm like, I've already done that. What are they talking about? Like, why can't they see that and the agents on the phone and customer service can? Which I know they can. It's just the person working the case is just a dumb shit and isn't looking at the account in full, and isn't putting that human element in place. They're going through their script and their process. They just denied it, whatever, So anyway, long story short, I called today. I escalate to a manager because I tried to escalate Sunday, and the lady just hung up on me and said it's going to be the same information. Nobody can get in touch with the back office team. It is what it is. And it's kind of the same song and dance I've gotten before, is there's nobody else that can get a hold of the back office team. Well, I used to work with AT&T, and I used to be a manager with AT&T. I used to be a floor support rep I used to be a supervisor, an agent to start. So I went through all those things. Then became a manager, was a trainer. I did a lot, wore a lot of hats at AT&T in my 11 years, almost 11 years working there. I know that there are ways, not for reps, but for actual managers, real managers, not the floor support managers, or even some floor support managers. They're technically reps that are like supervisors, is what they are. So some of them can if they're good and they actually give a shit, they make communicate, they network with back office teams so they can get things done on the call, so they don't have to deal and go to an actual team manager to get stuff done. Not all of them are proactive like that, but anyway, what I'm getting at is once you get to an actual manager, we had the ability to reach out to the back office teams through chat. We all had our own, every team had their own chat, so every customer service team, every back office team, every training team, everybody has their own chat, right? And so as a manager, you would kind of do the same thing. You'd network in, and or your area managers would send you communication as to these are like the escalated teams or back office teams if you ever need any assistance. Cool. So we can reach out to them directly. We can't flood their stuff. You'd get in trouble if you're sending them stuff that they shouldn't be dealing with, obviously, because you shouldn't just be sending, reaching out to them for no reason. And that's why reps don't have access to it, because reps would just be lazy and just reach out to them to do stuff. And that's not what they're there for. So, they have their own workload. They have their own things going on. But when we drop the ball over and over and over and over, when we clearly see that the team should be taking care of it, we were empowered to reach out and make it happen. Well, eBay apparently doesn't have that option at all. And I tried to, I got to a manager today, and with the sole purpose of just venting a bit and telling them, y'all really need to step up and have these options for you guys as managers. I'm not sure if you're floor support supervisor or if you're an actual team manager, but team managers should have the ability to reach out or go to their area manager and say, hey, can you do that? Area managers, if anything, should have that ability. We always had open door policy all the way up to the director. Like if there's a problem on the floor, you can go talk to somebody. I mean, you also don't want to be that person that's always going to talk to the higher up, because then that means you're probably not doing your part. But those rare instances, you have the ability to go, when you've exhausted all your resources, open door to go to the next level, while the customer's on the phone live. I mean, that's just how it is. Sometimes there are unique situations. And so I try to articulate that, help him understand. He was actually very good, and I think he was an actual team manager after talking to him a bit, and not like a floor supervisor rep that's claiming to be a manager, which is a lot of times, if you don't know that, that's what happens. But anyway, he was able to override the system. He clearly saw the messages. He saw that the back office teams dropped the ball. He saw everything lined up, so he was then empowered to make that call and make it happen. So thank goodness, man. So we got it taken care of on the call, got the negative feedback removed. And obviously it's based off of the fact that A, me and the buyer agreed. B, I took care of the buyer. He clearly documented in the eBay messages that he would like it removed. And he said that he could not see the original revision message that was sent to him through the system. So with those things in place, and then the fact that they've dropped the ball, the back office team 5 or 6 times now, he was able to make that decision and say, you know what? I got you. And so thank goodness, man. Sometimes you just have to push a little bit, because the initial agent was just going to submit another case to the team. And I'm like, nah, I want to talk to a manager at this point. Like, I try not to escalate, because I've been on the other side. And, I try not to be that guy. But at this point, it was just enough was enough. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's what we had going on. So I finally got that feedback removed. The funny thing is my feedback, I'm at 99.9. I just bumped up from 99.8. I had a few positives come through, and it bumped up to 99.9, even with the 2 negative feedbacks. Now we're at 99.9 still. It's not going to change. It doesn't change anything, but at least that feedback's removed. So I only have 1 negative feedback over the last year at this point, which is nice. I got like 11 neutrals, which that's a whole nother conversation if we want to get into that, but I'm not gonna. But like the last neutral was bogus. They said everything seemed to be good and everything was good. The description was good and all that, but they still left me a neutral. And I reached out and asked why, and he said, well, because the system doesn't seem to like play every time, and it just seems like it needs to be cleaned out a bit and taken apart. I'm like, okay, I mean, if you want to go that level and take it apart and clean the pins and all that, that's fine. But you turn the on button, you put a game in, it works. Like, I don't know, man. And you clearly said that it's working as described. It's just, it seems like it's a little dirty, I think is what he said in his messages. And when I asked him what he meant like the pins and everything on the inside, that he's gonna have to take it apart later on because it's just gonna get worse. And I'm like, I mean, that's old school Nintendo SPs, man. Old school cartridge games. They sometimes they do over time have to be opened up and cleaned out with or Q-tip, and at least put a Q-tip in there and clean it out. But I tested it, turned it on, put a game in, turned it on, it fired right up, no problem. I did it on and off a few times, made sure it worked, played through a little bit, all the buttons and everything worked. To that point, for me, it's working. So anyway, but at least it wasn't a negative. It's a neutral. It is what it is. So let's get to comments because we're already 10 minutes in. And at this rate, we're going to be an hour into this. But so let's start off with Screen Sloth. Commenting again, Screen Sloth. Thank you for commenting. I watched a second day now. Well, thank you, Screen Sloth. I appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate you watching. Thank you. If I can help at all, or if you have anything you want to drop to question wise, or just you want to poke at me again, that's fine too. I'll take it all. But thank you for commenting, and thank you for hanging out once again. Let me reply to that. Boom, boom. All right, next comment up. Sam Wadsworth says, "Good morning, Joe. Have a good week." Well, Sam Sloth, you have a good week too, sir. Thank you for commenting, watching, hanging out, and you have an amazing week as well. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Winston says, "I 100% agree about requiring immediate payment on offers. That way you don't miss out on potential sale if they don't pay right away." Look, I feel the same way. I mean, when I used to not have immediate payment on, I would get a lot of purchases and not checkouts. So I was like, I'm immediate payment. When you want something, you're going to pay right then and there. So it's done, because I had too many of them. I had too many of them before that was on. So I agree. So Winston Wolf agreed. Rick Lewis Hunts says, "Thank you again, Rick, for hanging out, watching, and commenting. Another great video and very informative, Joe. Keep up the good work, great work, and teaching others your way. Thanks for I appreciate that, man. I'm just trying to help, man. That's what this is about. I'm here anyway. I might as well share what's in here and maybe help some of y'all along your journey. And it only it only takes, I don't know, 45 minutes of my day, which I enjoy. It's kind of therapeutic to get on here and just kind of talk, because I said it before in a previous video. My wife and my kids don't want to hear about what's happening on eBay or YouTube, or what's happening with my sales and all that kind of stuff. I mean, every once in a while I'll talk to my wife about certain things, but like I just told her about the feedback, and she was like, "Gosh, thank God that took forever." I'm like, "Yeah, you ain't lying. It was stupid." But thanks for sharing your numbers. I guess I should live next door to you so that I know better how to make $1 million a year from eBay. Well, I don't know how to make $1 million on eBay, so you're barking up the wrong tree. I mean, I'd be a good neighbor though. But no, that was my helmet business. So I do autographed football helmets, and autographed football, baseball, basketball memorabilia on Facebook Live. I've been doing that for about 6 years now. We work pretty close with Racky Sports out of Georgia, and work a little bit with Fanatics as well, to get inventory and things like that. And so, but yeah, I've been doing that on Facebook Live for almost 6 years. So that's obviously, like I mentioned before, there's a lot more money flowing there. Not so much that I'm seeing a lot of profit, because the margins there are very small, but it's a volume play, because we do move a lot of merchandise, but it's a volume play there because again, after we pay Radke, like if my invoices are high from Radke and Fanatics, because the product is costly. I mean, these helmets are like a Tom Brady helmet's like $3,000. John Elway's like, $900, depending on what kind of helmet it's on. The inventory is high dollar. So obviously the numbers are high, but that doesn't mean I'm making millions. I can tell you that right now. I'm probably, when it's all said and done, between eBay and my memorabilia business, I'm doing okay. I'm not rich. I live in a three bedroom ranch style with a bonus room with 2-bathroom house, and I mean that's not. I mean, I'm in the country. Like my car's a 2008. My truck's a 2008. I mean, my wife's got a newer car, but I mean, we're doing okay. But I wish I saw the $1 million a year. That'd be great. I mean, it flows through my accounts, but then it has to be paid to our vendors, which they're the ones that see the big money, obviously. But anyway, Great job with your sports line. Keep up the great work. And actually, this is Joe. Joe is my name. Helmets is my game. My mom got me this a few years back because that's what I do. Football helmets. Mainly, we do football. Autographed football helmets is our main bread and butter, but we do tap into other things as well. Great job with your sports lineup. Keep up the great work, and great job getting to 525 subs now as well. Absolutely. It's all thanks to y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I mean, you know, that's all I can ask for is you guys watch, and grab some things. The main thing is giving you guys some value and a little bit of just me being me. Hopefully, it's a little entertaining. I know the guys that watch me on Facebook, they enjoy hanging out with me because I'm a talker and I'm a little bit entertaining. I'm not great. I'm not like the funny guy in the room by any means, but it's just giving value. And so with my sports memorabilia, I know a lot about the memorabilia, so I can provide value. Not only do I, sell it, but I know a lot about it. Same thing with this. I'm not a whiz. I'm not the best. I'm not, but I've been around a while and I want to be able to give value. So hopefully it's a little entertaining and provides value. And I think that's where the combination of the two kind of, work hand in hand. And so far it's working. So, but thank you once again, Rick Lewis Hunts. Next comment up is Murlock. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for hanging out. Murlock, I haven't had a chance to look at your stuff. My wife's calling me again. Oh man, terrible. Thanks, Joe, for replying. Appreciate the sub. Already subscribed. Enjoying your videos, brother. Stay well and see you on the next one. Well, I appreciate you, Murlock. Appreciate you hanging out and subscribing. Let's do that. All right, next one up is films retold 1. I know you sell a lot of video games, but I have a question. Do you take the time to remove the GameStop stickers from the case of games? I'm gonna. Do I have it up here? I'm gonna go ahead and promote this real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and promote that. So Gugon, Pro Power Gugon. If you're asking about removing anything sticker, any sticky residue, any of that kind of stuff, this stuff is amazing. I don't promote any kind of products typically, but this stuff blows me away when it comes to the video games and taking stuff off. Now, your question is, do I remove it all? It's tedious. Obviously, it's still, it takes it right off. I'll be honest with you. It's amazing stuff. But what I normally do is the games that are a little bit more valuable, I'll take the time and remove all the stickers, or I'll just swap out the cases with like the better games with the not so good games, the filler games, because I put filler games in with bundles. So a lot of times what I do is the filler games, I will swap the cases out with the good games. So I don't have to deal with doing any of that anyway. If for whatever reason I don't have that option, or I run out of filler games to do the swaps on the cases, like the artwork and all that in the manual, I swap it all out to a nice case and then put the ones that have stickers in with the filler that I bundle with systems. So hopefully you're following me there. And then if there is none left to swap, then I will use this I'll take all the, take the artwork out and all that, and then I'll spray that down. You let it sit for like 3, 4, or 5 minutes, and then 90% of the time it just peels right off. Or you just, you kind of tear, spray some more, let it sit again, and then you just kind of start wiping and it just comes right off. It's crazy how good that stuff works. But yeah, I do, if it's a higher end game that is, or $15 or above, typically that's a little bit, more value to it, I typically will. If it's a $9.99 game, I'm not, and I don't have any more things to swap out, I'm not going to take the time to do the stickers on just a $10 game. But if they're up, upwards to 15 or above, and I don't have any cases to swap out with it, then I will go ahead and take the stickers off and go that route. So, hopefully that helps, and hopefully that product, I'm telling you, that stuff is bomb.com. Every time I get those games, I would say 50% of them have stickers. I have been removing them, but it bugs the crap out of me. Yeah, I mean, that stuff will help you a ton. I promise you, man. Let me know if you get it and you try it. Let me know how you like it. Now, afterwards, you do have to spray it with like Windex, or I use Windex, or and I just afterwards you spray it with Windex and you wipe that residue off of everything, because it does leave like a little bit of a film on there. But it's once you clean it off and all that, man, it does the job. Anyway, thank you for commenting. Films retold. I appreciate you, and let's keep this rolling. Cam Kane, do you ever come across PS Vitas? Yeah, I actually just had two in inventory up to about a few weeks back and sold them. But yes, I come across Vitas. I'm not going to say regularly, but I do source them. They are a marketplace from time to time, and I do try to get a deal on them. Well, obviously, I try to get a bundle with games and things like that, and try to flip them and make a few bucks on them. I normally pay up a little bit more on Vitas because they sell really well. But yes, I do come across Vitas from time to time. Yes, I do. Thank you for hanging out, Cam Kane, and hopefully you subscribe. Big boy from B Town, Big Joe. How you feel about selling coffee mugs and kid backpacks? Also, are you a Detroit fan? Coffee mugs and kid backpacks. Believe it or not, I've sold a few coffee mugs in my day, and I've sold some I'm not kids backpacks, but I do source backpacks like military backpacks and like the sweet. What is this one over here? I got actually quite a few backpacks sitting down here. Swiss Gear is another one I typically source. Swiss Gear, Nike. I do have a bin down here of backpacks. So yes, I do source backpacks. Kids backpacks, not so much, unless it's like Pokemon. If I see a Pokemon backpack, I'll probably pick it up. They don't sell for much, but I'll pick it up. Mugs, I've sourced them. They got to be like niche, and I got to have a bundle of them, like more than one, because just one a lot of times doesn't go very well. But like I do have a few mugs over there, like Mickey Mouse, Disney, things like that. They don't sell very well, but every now and again I might pick up a mug or some mugs and Christmas mugs, and again, it has to be more than one typically for it to be worth it. Starbucks mugs sometimes, but they're super slow selling, and I don't recommend picking them up because it's not like I'm out there sourcing that stuff. But if I just happen to be at a yard sale and I'm not doing very good and I see a few and I'm like, quarter a piece, I'll try it, I'll pick it up, but they don't go very well. Anyway, so, and I am a Detroit fan, yes. I am a Detroit fan, absolutely. Been a Detroit guy since early 90s when I first started following sports. My family, my mom's side of the family is all from Michigan and Detroit area. So a couple more comments and then we'll move on to sales. Yo, Average Joe. Every time I get into your room, the guys are in the middle of it, so I just exit. I mean, we're all hanging out. You can hang out too if you want. I appreciate you commenting last night. Sorry, next time I'll say hi. Nice sales over the weekend. Had a good weekend. I had a good weekend too. I picked up a couple old school Amiga computers. Bolo, if you don't know, should make some good money. I've never heard of Amiga computers. I've heard of Alienware, but I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for those, man. Hey, good for you. Good sourcing, and and you're also gonna do good on that Nintendo SP and that Pokemon game. So there's that. Next comment up, Tex Johnson. Tex Johnson says, let me reply to yours. Tex Johnson says, yo, Average Joe, you mentioned that you can write off food expenses on your taxes. How does that work? I pretty much work all day on eBay. Do I count breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And what if you buy for family also? Should you do separate orders? Thanks. So, no, I wouldn't recommend doing any of that, to be honest with you. So when I talk about expensing out food, if I remember correctly, and I'm no tax person. I have an accountant that does my stuff. I just track it and he does his thing. When it comes to food, it has to be business related. So now, can you stretch that a little bit sometimes? Yeah. Like, for example, we went to, when I was camping, me and my family, and well, it was actually just me and my wife, and then my buddy who actually used to work for us on the helmet side of the business, on my football helmet side of the business. They were camping as well across from us. So the four of us, him and his wife, me and my wife, we went out to dinner one night and left the kids at the campsites. They're all, a couple of them are old enough to watch. Anyway, that's nor here nor there. So we went off to dinner in Raleigh one night, and him and I were talking about helmet stuff and talking. There was helmet business stuff that came up. So I picked up the check and threw it under an expense. So, I mean, there are times like that where that goes back to that little bit of a gray area, because technically I could say that was a business meeting. We did talk about business stuff. So that one I decided to throw under as a business expense. If I travel to Georgia and I'm on the road or down there in Georgia hanging out with my buddies, even though I'm there for work, technically, because I go to Radke, I pick up helmets, I build a series, We do things like that, which you're probably like, what is he talking about? Anyway, I purchase product and things like that while I'm there. So a lot of the food costs, whether it be driving while I'm up there, stopping off at places, gas, and then if we happen to go out, even if it's a group of us and I end up picking up the check, there's usually some business happening, some talk about business going on. So that then I would throw under my business expense. Your everyday food stuff with you and your family, no, I would say that's not going to be considered. Even though you're working all day long and all that kind of stuff, you could probably, and if you did, it would only be you that you could expense out as far as your portion. Like, but if I remember correctly, it's only like 50% in those cases that you actually get part of it is a write-off, is like 50% of the food. But again, no, when you and your family just go out to dinner, or you're working and you order pizza and you're working, that's those things. Not, I wouldn't recommend. That's a little bit past that gray area. I would say that's probably a no-go. If anybody wants to chime in on that, let me know. But hopefully that helps a little bit. If you look up the tax, food tax deductions or tax expenses for businesses, there's a bunch of stuff out there about it that can definitely you can look up and get a little bit better understanding on how it works. But essentially, if you travel, I believe if you travel and all the food at traveling, that's all covered 100% if I remember correctly. So again, when I go down to Georgia and I pick up the check, we're talking about business, whatever, we order out, we do whatever. I a lot of times we'll pay for that stuff because I'm there for business. And so a lot of that stuff falls under the business. And I believe that's 100%. When I'm here at the house, are there times during the week that I just go out and grab a bite to eat and sometimes put that under expense because I'm working and things like that and it's just me? Yes. And I believe that's 50% if I'm not mistaken. And then again, there's those gray areas where sometimes me and the family, if I get a phone call and we're talking about business, or a lot of times I'm on my phone doing business. Technically we're out to dinner and now I'm doing business and there's business stuff. So then I'm going to write off a portion of that. I can't write off my kids and my wife's part, but I can certainly, whatever my portion, $25 for my meal, I'd put that on. And again, that could be a gray area too, but I don't separate the checks or anything. I log that $25 was for food, business meeting or something like that, because technically I was then doing business on my phone and stuff like that. So again, some of those gray areas in that respect, but for sure, traveling, food, and business, legit business food, obviously those things, if you have friends that are in your business, then that, it's we're BSing about business and we're BSing about sports and we're hanging out and we're friends. And because these are some of these guys that work in my team with the football helmets are friends from college and things that we're all on the same team now doing the same thing in different rooms. So it's always some sort of business thing going on. It's all business related. So again, you can stretch a little bit there, but hopefully, again, I'm rambling. Hopefully that helps. And if anybody wants to chime in and give their 2 cents on that part, feel free. Yeah, so Tex, thank you for commenting, subscribing. Well, I don't know if you subscribe. Hopefully you subscribe. Thank you for hanging out and commenting. Mark says, Mike is picking up your heartbeat at 28 minutes and a bit after. Is it really? It's picking up my heartbeat? Well, that's interesting. Well, that's the first time I've heard that. Well, it's probably because it was so hot. And I don't know. It is right next to my heart. So hopefully that's not happening all the time. But Mark, thank you for letting me know that. Maybe the problem is if I put the mic up here, it's like super loud. I did notice that when I had it up here the very first time I used it, it was like really loud. So I don't know. Maybe I can put it over here or something. I don't know. But thank you for letting me know that. If anybody else has that problem and it's becoming an issue, let me know. Because, yeah. Demetrius says, hey, Joe, when pricing your items, do you go with the highest that's been sold, or do you go with the lowest that's been sold, or do you go in the middle? So, Demetrius, first, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for commenting. Hopefully you subscribed. I've mentioned this before, and it's probably part of the reason my sales aren't as strong as I'd like them to be. It's because I always start high, because you can always start high and come down. I always do the sales promotions and sales and marketing promotions and sales discounts. That's a lot of times when I see big pops on my stuff, because it comes down to more like the middle point. But I always start high because it's nice to get premium out of stuff. And there are a lot of times that I do get premium out of stuff. And so I always start high. That's just my motto. That's what I've always done. If I see a high comp at, a bunch of comps and the highest one is, $50 and most of them are around 40 or so, then I'll start at $49.99. And it may sit for a while. And then when I finally do a 15% off or something, or 10 or 15% off, a lot of times that's when I'll see that thing go. But a lot of times in other cases that they will sell for $49.99. So, that's got to be like, based on your stuff, your margins, that kind of things, how quickly you want to move stuff. Those are things you got to kind of ask yourself, where you want to be. Obviously, if you start off low, you're going to sell stuff quicker, but you're also going to leave a lot of money on the table a lot of times. So if you get stuff really, really cheap, then that may be a way to go. Undercut the market and sell stuff quicker and get rid of stuff quicker. I start high, and that may be why I sit on a lot of stuff, but I don't mind sitting on stuff because I still do pretty well. My numbers are where I want them to be for the most part. There are times they're not, but that's to each his own. There's no right or wrong there, but that's how I do it. I do start high, so hopefully that helps. Demetrius, once again, thank you for hanging out. And did I already reply? I think I already replied to you as well. Yes. So that is it for comments. Let me just refresh, make sure nothing else popped through. Nope, we are all caught up there. So I only had 2 sales. Pretty dismal day, coming off a great weekend. Dismal day today, and not a lot of traffic. I did put up a bunch of stuff on eBay last night, and I did prep a bunch of stuff to get up. I tested a bunch of systems, some Xbox 360s and things like that. 2 of them didn't work. 2 of them did work. So I got to clean those today, get those up, bundle them with a bunch of games. I got a ton of Xbox 360 games that are considered filler games. For me, filler games are anything under $10. So I'm going to get those up today. Just keep hammering out my table. In fact, I'll show you all my table now. I got to kind of clean it up a little bit. So I'll bring you over to my process. There's my clothes. Have I ever said I hate clothes? I hate clothes. My boxes, bunch of boxes and stuff. Anyway, so we'll go over here to my processing table. It was a huge mess, and I had a bunch of stuff all over the place. But we're starting to finally chip away at this a little bit. So hopefully I can go yard selling this weekend. I was plumb full I had so much stuff on the ground. I mean, I had stuff all the way out here, and I had stuff all the way over here that was just stuff. So I've consolidated it now to a few bags and box, and then some of the stuff here that needs to all get processed. Nintendo, Wii, Switch, Super Nintendo, GameCube, a PS4, Wii boards. Wii boards suck, by the way. Wii boards suck. So everything from if y'all don't know, my cartridge game pile will never. At some point I'll get to it, but it's all good stuff. It's all filler stuff has been taken out, so it's all good titles: Donkey Kong, Mario 3, Kirby's Island, F-Zero, Mario Paint, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Castlevania. It's all the good stuff. It's all good stuff. So there's Super Nintendo, and N64 is all right there. So I got to eventually get that to that. It's been a long time. Kurt, I know you're going to roast me. I know, but everything basically from here over that's on the table all has to get processed still, which hopefully by the end of this week I can get that all done. And then it's almost time for me. If you don't know, I do controllers. I do open them up. I do play and tinker and try to fix, but these are all controllers that I've deemed I'm not messing with them. They don't work. They're whatever reason. They're junk, too far from what my experience and my scope. So once this is almost time to list this. So what I do is I dump them in this box as I get stuff. And then once this box is full, then I'll just list the whole thing on eBay. Usually I get about $100 for all the stuff, all the controllers and stuff. So this bin is my personal stuff. This is all games that have no cases. There's actually some really good ones in here, like Silent Hill and stuff like that. But this is all game cases that are empty with no games. So if I ever find the game, I can match it with the case. An empty box for a PlayStation. Empty box for a PlayStation, which at some point I'll come across one and then complete it and then sell it. Is the thought there. A bunch of camera stuff that I need to get through and some other systems here that I need to get through. So not a ton, but hopefully I can get through all this week. And then of course, if you know me, I hate clothes, and those are bins that are there's there's 3 bins in here that are full of clothes. The other ones are all empty. But there are 3 bins in here full of clothes that I need to eventually get those up to. I hate clothes. I don't put them up very often, but I source them. So there's that. All right. So let's move on to sales real quick. There's a little tour of my processing table. Eventually it'll get cleared off and you'll be able to see the table again, and I'll have room, and then I can source again and and all that fun stuff. So anyway, 2 items, nothing crazy. 2 items. I did have a return. Actually, it wasn't a return. It was a wrong address. So I gotta. Oh, you're shaking, huh? I gotta figure out. I gotta have the guy pay for shipping again. I'm not quite sure. You know, because you're not supposed to go off of eBay. But he said he'll pay shipping again. So I got to get this out to him. It was the address was not updated, and it came back to me. He reached out and said, "Oh, I forgot to update the address. I'll pay shipping again because I really want it." I'm like, okay. So I got to figure that out today. The 2 sales, 2 sales for $44.25. Nothing crazy. I believe they're both in here too. An old school Samsung phone, with the case, with the little, like belt case, old school. Sold for $17 plus shipping. And then Leatherman Micro Mini Keychain Multi-Tool. Leatherman Micro Mini Keychain Multi-Tool sold for $15 plus shipping. That's all I got for y'all. Terrible sales day, but hey, something's better than nothing, man. Something's better than nothing. A few bucks is better than no bucks. So I think I got both of those for like $1 a piece. So you can't go wrong there. Maybe $2. I'm pretty sure the phone I got for $1. And I'm pretty sure I got the Micro Mini Leatherman for $1. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully you like this one. A little shorter than normal, which is good. But that's all I have. I'm going to get this stuff packed up, and then I'm going to make me some lunch, and then I'm going to start working on my helmet game stuff, because I got like 17 packages to get packed up for all my football helmet stuff, and I got to get that out tomorrow morning, but I got to get it all packed up today. So anyway, appreciate y'all. If you want to drop comments, I'll be glad to cover them. Be glad to touch on any questions you guys might have, and hopefully you subscribe if you enjoy any of the content or found anything interesting or informative. We'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.